The universe of Power Book for a Force is filled with hatred. Given the topic, that is a given. However, the star's drama reminds viewers in Season 3, Episode 2, A Seat at the Table, that it's not just about pulling one over on each other and pursuing each other. There are also sincere relationships. Some more than others. The episode revolves around the concept of love, both good and evil. Positively, Tommy and Mireia nearly embark on a romantic pizza lunch date before Tommy is targeted for murder by the Marquez cartel. However, they are the cutest people in the power world during the little time leading up to the drive-by. Then there's Claudia Flynn having a tearful conversation with her girlfriend Becky, too. Power Book for Force fans are so used to Stone Cold Claudia that it almost comes as a shock to see her affected, and Lily Simmons plays the scene wonderfully. All of this is important in the sense that it gives the entire show meaning. Sure, the drive-bys and hold-ups are thrilling, but tough guys and gals on TV are a dime a dozen. That being said, there are 2 drive-by shootings, a warehouse fire and a beheading in A Seat at the Table. Power Book for Force is not skimping on the action in its final season. Tommy walking into a coalition meeting holding up a severed head is probably a top 10 Tommy Egan moment, and Joseph Sikora sells the daylights out of the accompanying monologue to back up the visual emphatically. This episode states, out loud and repeatedly, how many people believe Tommy is a liability. This isn't unexpected. Even in Season 3, the stage has to be set for Tommy to have one last epic battle, and that means people have to turn against him. The threats don't stop. But after setting the stage and re-establishing all the rivalries in the Season 3 premiere, Episode 2 is wise to similarly remind viewers that Power Book for Force has more going for it than the drug dealing. From Tommy and Mireia, to Stacy and Bobby, to even Vic reuniting with Beth, there are emotional stakes as well and relationships that audience members can invest in. He's not willing to put his pride aside to see the merits of working with someone like Tommy earnestly. Plus, he has Shanti in his ear every 5 seconds telling him that they need to run the world, and she's pretty damn persuasive. Shanti's such an intriguing character because she's respected in the streets, but it's very clear she's stuck where she is because she's a woman. She's brilliant, manipulative, and clever, and I will keep saying it until the very last episode. Shanti, Jenard, Tommy, and Diamond teaming up would be everything. The 4 of them could easily run Chicago, but the egos and the inability to think beyond themselves would never allow it. I was skeptical about Jenard and Shanti and just what their relationship was, because it's as much business as anything else. Yes, they care about one another, but they're also heavily involved in a business relationship as much as, if not more than, a personal one. But Power Book for Force Season 3 is taking great pains to show us the softer side of their relationship, and I appreciate that because it allows us to see a different side of them and what they desire. If Diamond wants D-Mac dead so badly, then he needs to step up and do it himself. Mireia is actually the funniest person on this whole show because she wanted nothing to do with her brother's antics, and now she is smack in the middle of everything, being shot at and playing mob nurse, all because she loves Tommy Egan. Not to get too emotional, but each passing hour puts us closer to the end, unfortunately. But the ride's been fun so far. There's a lot of hate in the world of Power Book for the Force. That's a given considering the subject matter. But in Season 3, Episode 2, A Seat at the Table, the star's drama reminds viewers that it's not all about who's after who and getting one over on each other. There are relationships that are genuine, too. Some more than others. The idea of love, both good and bad, runs through the episode. On the good side, there's Tommy and Mireia, who almost have a cute pizza lunch date before the Marquez cartel tries to kill Tommy. But for the few moments before the drive-by, they're as adorable as anyone in the Power universe ever gets. And in the aftermath, they're sweet too. With each week, Diamond seems like he's more at the end of his rope with Tommy, and the stunt at the meeting pushed him to even let Jenard speak up, which would have been virtually unheard of during Power Book for Force Season 2. Of course, Diamond doesn't know Jenard is playing him like a fiddle, but there are an awful lot of people on this show getting snowed, so you can't even go after him too hard. Diamond's the kind of level-headed Tommy and Jenard could only dream about, and he's meticulous in a way that they will never be. He has the same goals as they do, to get CBI and himself to the top of the food chain, but he doesn't want to go about it the same way. Diamond can be a Tommy apologist at times, but he also sees what Tommy has to offer in a way Jenard is too blinded to. Jenard sees an interloper and someone who's taking from him. Someone occupying the space he believes should be his. Tommy Egan is on one this season, and it may be entertaining as hell, but his enemies list is growing by the second. And I didn't think it could get any longer than it already was. At the end of the day, Tommy typically gets what Tommy wants when all is said and done, but he better be careful because Chicago isn't New York, and if everything goes to crap, there may not be anyone there to have his back. Tommy's often 10 steps ahead of his enemies, but it feels like he's so laser-focused right now that he doesn't see the very real snakes already camping out in his grass. It took him a minute to figure out Vic was lying to him, but once he knew, he decided that keeping Vic alive was more valuable than killing him, and it's a gamble that may work out for him in the end. On the one hand, Vic is about the least trustworthy person on this show, and that's truly saying something, but on the other hand, Vic's a lone wolf with very little to look forward to in his life. Well, that's not actually fair, when that marriage between Stacy and Bobby was pretty much DOA from the minute it was introduced to us. We don't get a ton of the couple, but when we do, it's evident that Stacy's ambitions and control issues played a significant role in the decline of their marriage. The fact that Bobby was sitting across from her, still wanting to make it work if she would give him an inch, should tell you everything you need to know about that union. Stacy may regret giving up everything for her job, though that ambition will likely take her to the height she aspires to, so she probably won't regret a thing. I'm interested in seeing how Vic infiltrates her life through Ray, what his plan is to get out from under Stacy, and how Tommy uses Stacy's one-track mind to destroy her or get her to work with him. I wouldn't put it past Tommy to find a way to get Stacy, not necessarily on his side, but in a position where helping Tommy helps her. Speaking of Tommy, I am absolutely loving how he, Diamond, and Jenard are all walking these super thin lines around each other, pretending to be on the same page when it couldn't be further from the truth.
One had unfinished business and a reason to keep going. It was Tommy, plus, Joseph Sikora's incredible talent was perfect to build another show around. A spin-off about a protagonist returning to their hometown isn't new, even the Cleveland show did it, but it's the way Sikora plays it that makes Power Book 4 Force the follow-up fans deserve. Tommy has always been a live wire, even in his most quiet or vulnerable moments is never quite still. It makes complete sense that he'd take the heavy blows he suffered in Power and use them as fuel to not only start over, but make his own empire where he wouldn't have to rely on anyone or care about losing anyone. Force also gave him a substantive reason to stay in Chicago by revealing his grandmother was still alive and he had an ignored half-brother. This show is Tommy Egan's reckoning, and the fact that Sikora is also a Chicago native adds a neat extra quirk to it. Viewers are now several episodes into the season, and Tommy's battles have fleshed out the character in ways that Power never could. In the original series, though Tommy and Ghost were partners and even operated independently at times, they were always inexorably connected. Power Book 4 Force has made Tommy clearly number one, with all the positives and negatives that entails. The subtle psychological shift of being professionally beholden to no one else has given him an extra edge. There's also no one to check him and he faces the full consequences of his mistakes. One aspect of Power Book 4 Force that's particularly intriguing is its exploration of Tommy's newfound family, his half-brother J.P. Gibbs, Anthony Fleming III, and nephew D-Mac, Lucien Cambrick. Though D-Mac being J.P.'s son isn't public knowledge yet, it's bound to come out eventually, and J.P. has already told Tommy that he's in a financial bind. Ghost's family was completely caught up in the game, even his true love Angela was a U.S. attorney. J.P. is trying to stay on the straight and narrow as is Gloria, and D-Mac's not totally in yet. Tommy can have a side of his life that has nothing to do with drugs, giving himself a balance and saving himself from making the mistakes Ghost made by being unable to keep things separated.
Starz has released a new trailer for Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Part 2 alongside some first-look photos that tease a final showdown. The newly released trailer sets the stakes high for emotional final episodes, emphasizing that no one is safe. Part 2 of the final season will premiere on Starz at 8 p.m. in the US on Friday, September 6th. Episodes will be available to stream on the Starz app from midnight. In the first half of Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4, unanswered high-stakes questions were uncovered and Tarek learned he is the father of Diana's baby. Part 2 will showcase the adage, like father, like son. Tarek finds himself in an eerily similar situation, just like his late father, Ghost, stuck between a rock and a hard place, with the choice to leave the game or take over, reads the official synopsis for Part 2. Entrapped by Detective Carter, the Tejada family realizes their safety is not guaranteed. Monet fiercely fights for her family to become whole again, but is it too late? Noma is working her way to the top of the food chain. Meanwhile, her daughter, Anya, gets too close to the game, forcing Noma to think twice about her actions.
Dark clouds forming in the heavens over me, but I say hallelujah anyway.
As they held their guns up towards each other, Monet told Tarek that she knew they both had a lot of reasons to want to take each other out, but she had a better idea. She proposed that if he give her kids the pass, she'll give him one too. Monet explained that all she cared about at the moment was making sure her family was safe, especially her grandbaby. Tarek, who is obviously still shell-shocked by the news, lowers his gun before leaving the house. That episode ends with Tarek pulling up to the party/concert Braden put together for No Lie. When they finally catch up, Braden breaks down all the logistics of how their business will run and Tarek is very impressed. When Braden is done, he asks Tarek how things went with the Tejadas. Tarek tells him that he might not drink before he gets into it and also says that needed to hit the blunt Braden was hitting at the moment. As the two sit at the bar, Tarek spots Anya. He walks up and offers to pay for her drinks as he introduces himself. She tells him that she can pay for her own drinks. Tarek responds by saying he could see that but she shouldn't have to. She loved the line and introduced herself. The episode ends with Tarek telling Anya that it's nice to meet her. That boy cold. Power Book 2, Ghost continues to dominate television screens as it approaches its mid-season finale in its final 10-episode run. This spin-off from the original Power series, which concluded in 2020, has garnered significant attention, with Season 4 attracting 6.5 million multi-platform viewers during its debut week on Starz. Michael Rainey Jr. portrays Tarek St. Patrick, the son of James St. Patrick, known as Ghost, a former drug lord and businessman. Tarek, who killed his father in the original series, now navigates a dual life as an Ivy League college student and a drug dealer. Season after season, viewers witness Tarek's attempts to earn his inheritance through education, only to be drawn deeper into a life of crime. He embodies the legacy of Ghost, version 2.0, as per the report by Radio Times. Adding to the complexity, Detective Don Carter, Michael Ealy, enters the fray, determined to bring down Tarek and his associates, including federal agent Angel Young, with ties to Paz and Angela Valdez. The impending threat forces Tarek and his loved ones into precarious situations, testing their resilience and alliances. The Starz app offers streaming for every Power franchise installment, including Power Book 2, Ghost. Fans excitedly await the dramatic finale of this spin-off, which functions as a sequel and a standalone story in the Power universe, as the series gets more intense with each new episode release.
Despite the Starz show's lengthy hiatus between seasons, the third season debut does not reassure